So we're taking, Zebbler's taken a straight, two-dimensional show and really created something very different and like interesting with it. And the scale of it is really big, and the intricacy of like what you're able to create on it is like almost unlimited, because it's basically it's a platform for projecting video, but the fact that it's sculptural really brings out a lot more possibilities.
Where do you see art going in the next 5 to 10 years, and how do you see yourself as a part of it?
Well, I think that we're at a place where the progress of technology, and especially the progress of affordable technology, has reached this kind of like new exponential point. And you're starting to see a lot of people, like my friend Jacob and Ben, are doing some stuff with the Kinect, and so they have basically a hand-controlled dubstep machine that they're working on, and it controls synthesizers just by the movements of your body. And 2 years ago, like literally 2 years ago, the technology of this thing would have cost you more than $5,000. Even like say last September, before the thing was released, it still would have cost you $5,000. And all of a sudden, this is out and it's $150, and it can give you a three-dimensional map of a room. And what that stuff is it's data. And for me, the future of art is interactivity. I've always been like, it was never interesting for me to draw something, because once I've drawn it, then I just have a thing. For me personally, I create things that create. So I have, this pedal-powered sound system, and people put their energy into it, and, sound and light comes out. It creates a party. And some of my other stuff is interactive software-based computer art, and I do lasers and video and LED lighting and things like that. And basically, I've created algorithms that listen to sound and music and react to them and create an environment that you can go inside of, to really it's like almost you're inside of the brain of someone with synesthesia. And synesthesia is basically the crossing of different senses. So you might hear, hear light or whatever. So that's the type of thing that I try and create. And, we have a bunch of other people who are doing that. Ah, nice job. So
I just want to point out we're getting some little hecklers that are saying, "Oh, anybody can do the Kinect thing." Well, you try it and see how it goes, and then post your own video of you controlling dubstep bass lines with your motions.
Zebbler, come on. Clearly, they've done it. They should post a link to the forum.
Yeah, exactly. Post the link, and let's check it out.
It's like, yes, these things are all doable, and if you have technical knowledge and you have the creativity and you have the motivation, you can absolutely do it. And we applaud that. We want more creativity in the world. We want people doing stuff all the time, pushing things forward, because that's how humanity gets better. It's not by heckling people, it's by actually going out and doing something.
So all of this seems like kind of an underground movement. So how do you think the general public relates to this? And do you think that this will become mainstream?
Well, which part? The interactive art, or just technological art?
Any of it, anything that any and all of it.
I think that it seems like there's some kind of percentage of people who have, we'll say, an artistic view of the world. And then there are some people who are on the edge who are maybe primarily technologically oriented, but they also have a lot of creativity. Zebbler's smiling because he's chatting with people. If you're not in the chat room, you should be. He's very entertaining. But of course, he's listed as me. Anyways. So yeah, do I think that it will catch on? Yes, I've seen in the past, I've seen something happen. If you're not an artist, art supplies aren't going to excite you, right? But if you're not an artist, but you are a techie person, technological stuff will excite you. And there's a real possibility of that pulling you into doing creative stuff, because you're going to be like, well, hell, I don't just want to make spreadsheets and virtual bowling games. I want to make something that's just pretty and interesting, and you get this inkling of an idea in your head, and you're like, can I make this happen? And if you are willing to work at it, the answer is almost always yes, you can make it happen. So I think that it's going to catch on, and I think we're going to see lots of people creating stuff and using new technologies. And it's 10 years ago, this show right now wouldn't really have been possible, because the infrastructure required to do real-time video over the internet just wasn't there. So now it's opened this creative outlet for you and a bunch of other people to do awesome stuff and to share your thoughts and ideas and feelings and stories and creativity with like literally the whole world. And that's amazing. So I mean, we have the Kinect right now, and has like limited resolution, limited range. It's like can only track so many things at once. But this is the very first one, and this is already like more than an order of magnitude cheaper than anything that came before it. So what's the next one going to look like in 2 years now that they have another $150 million of revenue to put into the project, and now everybody is doing it. So we're going to see a lot of changes, and I think we're going to see much more interactive environments in the world. You already start to see it. It's like in Minority Report, there was the billboards that were aware of who you were and like tailored the advertising directly to you.
That's going to happen.
And it's absolutely going to happen, and you're going to see it. I mean, what is Facebook now? I mean, look at these Facebook ads that are targeted on you based on if you're logged in. You see the images of your friends, next to like buy this crap, and it's like more emotionally resonant than seeing someone else's friends who you aren't familiar with. I'm getting, it's distracted by Zebbler. Yes, I live just for the singularity, it's true. And so I don't know, just like I like to see more and more stuff happen that is interesting because it enriches the world. And I think the other thing is when people are broken out of the mundane, and broken out of the everyday and broken out of what they expect, there's this moment just after they're surprised when they go, what the fuck just happened? And then they look at the world slightly different for a minute or two. And then that's when you like sometimes come up with new ways of looking at things because you're broken out of your old patterns.
So I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but Google, the people that started Google are burners, and they hired their CEO because he was a burner. Do you see that Google getting more involved with this interactive and possibly interactive art and helping to bring it to the forefront?
Well, I think that, some of the things that are interesting about Google are, they have this like 20% of an employee's time is used for personal projects, was really cool. And, so far they haven't been afraid to invest in things that have a high probability of failing or aren't core to their market. For example, Google is one of the groups of people on the forefront of self-driving vehicles, and they've been doing tests with, essentially they've done fully automated tests driving from like their headquarters to like other places in California. And some people might be, well, that's not about internet search, but what it is about is making people's lives more efficient. And I think that really that's what like Google is trying to do. And for the most part, they've lived inside of a web browser, inside of a little, two-dimensional screen, but they're starting to move out of that. And for example, they just hired, what's his name? Johnny Hugh, who worked at Microsoft on the Kinect project, who was doing basically 3D gesture recognition stuff that's really smart. So, they've just hired him, who helped create the Kinect, and my hope is that they're going to start to do more things breaking outside of the 2D web browser interface, because there's a lot of really brilliant people working at Google, and they have a pretty good understanding of simplicity, which is key because making something that can do anything but has infinite complexity doesn't actually help anyone, really. You have to limit the complexity and have, something that still has a lot of capabilities, and that makes it much more graspable.
I'm starting to get some complaints from the people in the chat group saying I am the silent Bob of the group and that I don't talk a lot, which is
very wrong.
It's very wrong. Normally,
you weren't here for the first half of the show.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I was talking a lot earlier, but in reality, let me maybe just address one question that came up earlier. Like the question was, was I afraid that I would be deported, and how did I get my political asylum from in U.S. from Belarus? So originally I'm from Belarus, which is a republic of the former Soviet Union, right? I came here in '96, and I got my political asylum in 2000. The reason why I have my political asylum basically is because I I believe that the government in Belarus is a dictatorship. We had the same guy in power since 1994. So, that's 15 years in power for one person. It's just not right, especially when he rigs every single election. So I was protesting back in Belarus, and I got in trouble a few times. And when I came to U.S. as an exchange student in 96, shit just hit the fan in Belarus, and there were huge protests. The guy seized all the power. He was disbanded the judiciary branch and the parliament, and handpicked his parliament that he wanted to install. So at that point, I realized that if I wanted to be an artist, somebody who expresses himself truly and without restraint, I wanted to be in a situation that would give me freedom to do it. And it was my blessing to be here in the United States, where I could ask for political asylum from this country to help me out. So that's how I'm here.
We're wrapping up the show fairly shortly, so everyone get in your last minute questions. This is a great time to ask any questions that you have to the guys that were, in charge of the Mooninites thing. One thing, going back to the technology thing and art, how do you think that art has practical usage in the world, and how do you see art and practicality joining forces as one and possibly leading the way to new technology?
Well, I would say that, art is an interesting thing, and it, can be looked at in a lot of different ways. And if you look at, say writing as art, right, then you can include science fiction in art. And if you look at, one of my favorite books, which is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, basically he in like 1978 or so is like, oh, there's this thing, and you hold it in your hand, and it has all the information of the universe, and it's updated live, and you can ask it any question, and all of a sudden, hey, what is it? It's like 2010, and it's like, here's like my phone that does that. It's basically like not all the information in the universe, but like most of the information on this planet. And, since the dawn of cell phones 20 years ago, when they were the size of like, the size of a bunch of bricks, now, and didn't even have a screen, now you have something that holds lots of information in it. Let's see, there's a question from the board. How do you see the democratization of circuit design fitting into the education for the next generation of people? Well, I think that's a really good question. And, especially I'm a big fan of the Arduino platform. And basically what that is it's a open source electronic environment. So there's little boards that are standardized, and then there's an environment on the computer that you program them with. And the nice thing is it's all really high level, and it makes talking to sensors and motors and stuff like that very, very simple. Yeah.